kai au manuia malu le usu. It's a greeting for our Samoan community. Welcome to the activity briefings for the 5th of August. And apologies, we have Tony Todd. That's it.
Have those?
I don't think so. No. So first up, we'll start with Business Support Group Information Systems, and Gordon at the top table. Helen, kia ora. Anything to add to your report, Gordon?
No, I'm happy to take any questions that you might have.
Questions, councillors? I'll start, and it's one I ran past Hamish, but we know that he's a very busy man. So when I go to copy and paste from our systems, Gordon, for example, I get a text message from somebody saying, why is that street nightlight working? I ask one of our staff, they reply, I go to copy and paste and then fire a text away. It won't allow that. Can you tell me why?
Is this on your phone?
Yes. But even if you go to copy and paste from, on your computer on an email, you can forward the email fine, but you can't copy and paste it into a messenger message or a text message.
There could be some restrictions from external to internal systems, but we'll come and see you and see what experience you're getting.
It's an extra thing to do, you know.
I can add to that because that's the same for me as well. So it's obviously something to do with, and definitely from Stella, it's very limited what you can do from Stella, but it's limited from what we can do. And I wondered if that was a censoring thing or something.
No, as I said, there could be some limitations between systems, but we'll come and have a chat.
Right, thank you. Any other questions? Off the hook. Thank you, Gordon. Up next, property. Hi, Renee.
Good morning.
Questions for Renee. Oh, do you have anything to add to your report?
I actually do this morning.
Oh, good.
So we are pleased to see that we had 5 tenders received for the asbestos containing removal from the Balmoral Hall, and we received 4 tenders for the demolition. So we'll be undertaking the assessment of those shortly.
Awesome. Councillor Cameron.
I'm assuming elderly persons housing, it's a typo and there's not 98 vacant units.
Yeah, I had that highlighted as well.
Sorry, typo.
Yeah. We've got 23 people on the waiting list, 11 people, blah, 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 and 4 from out of town. How do you prioritise the out of town, Queenstown, Coorau, Dunedin versus the local? Is there a priority? How do you do that?
Through the chair. So the locals are prioritised, but it is based on the greatest need.
How do you assess the greatest need?
Well, it depends on each individual situation.
Like who's homeless, sort of thing, or who doesn't have anywhere to go to, or?
Yes, all those factors.
And do you assess that, or who assesses that? Do you have an independent group that assess the greatest need, or is that assessed by an individual in the property team?
Undertaken by the person that manages that activity.
It would be interesting to see that criteria. Is that written down in a grid, or is it a personal feeling thing?
It's based on a number of factors. It's not as formal as having a criteria and scored against, but it's looking at the whole picture.
Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. Just on the Ashburton Business Estate, a couple of questions here. I looked at the link, so really, really good video, I thought. So first question is, you've shared it with real estate agents. Are there any plans to put it on any other platforms, I suppose, that will promote the business park?
Yes, so we've updated it on Council's website, and we've also been contacted by some of the real estate agents also wanting to put their branding on the back of it, which is required as part of the real estate legislation.
So no thoughts, because I thought it was a very good promotional video, if you like, to to pay some money, I suppose, and put it on to try and just generate some interest in the, because following on from that, has there been any other interest in sections out there lately?
We have received one inquiry following the update to the marketing.
So I'd like to see some more promotion of the business park. So we've got the video, but if we're only giving it to those already, there must be some other external areas that we could look at, and maybe at some stage that could come back to council with something. I don't know what.
I wonder whether, Renee, you might like to let councillors know how many real estate agents are already involved, even if it's just an approximate number, so that you do get a sense that there is quite a wide range of people that has the ability to sell and respond to inquiries.
Just finding that out now. So we've got six different agencies doing that for us. We're also working closely with the economic development team. We talking through those testimonials with the people that are currently occupying out there. They're also sharing it with their networks. So there is a lot of network happening that's probably outside of council as well.
Councillor Wilson.
It's to do with maintenance on elderly person housing. If we've got 100 units to refresh them every 10 years, we need to do 10 a year. In fact, that's just the maths, basically. So how do we? If I see that we've got a couple, two tenants. We've got some being done and some are going to be done. So with respect to that, once we've done one and it's empty, do we ever proactively, talk to some tenants that are in one that needs doing and say, well, would you like to shift to a better one? Therefore, we can, because if we wait for people to move out or move on, effectively, we'll never get there, and then they're living. And I know people don't like to shift, but if you've got lots of houses, many dairy farms, you've got to take the opportunity or make the opportunity to do them up. Otherwise, you'll never do it. Do we do that, or?
We certainly ask, yes, but a lot of people quite like either who their neighbours are or what their outlook is. Older people, it's quite a big thing for people to actually move. There's also additional cost in doing that, but we have certainly asked for that to happen simply because, and some of them have taken us up on that from time to time. It's just not something that that we can do by force.
Yeah, but I think in the wider renting world, if you've got a house and you've got to maintain it, you don't ask the tenant, can I please maintain the house? You just have to do it because it's part of the process of owning a house. So I think you probably need to, I know it's just stressing, but it is just something if the roof leaks, you don't say, well, do you want me to fix the roof? You fix it because you've got to. And another avenue I wanted to just ask about was the sports hall. I know it's been in the media a bit and there's been lots of chatter around it, I'll use the word. With respect, I see we've got it on the sale prices underway. Will we have to spend money on it in order for the sale to go through, or is it an as-is, where-is type scenario?
It's an as-is, where-is. So we have been in touch with all the community groups that have shown an interest, so they've received the tender packs, and we've, as you've seen, we've also got it out commercially. So we are selling it as-is, where-is.
Is there any cost for us advertising-wise for the real estate companies with that? I know we're going to have to look at some, if for example, a community group buys it for $1, then we'll have to look at the commission structure, but normally there's no cost for advertising when you sell your property. What is that?
We are paying for advertising for the commercial side of things, so that was through a tender process, and that was compared against the people that put the tenders in. We think in this case it's almost like a general agency where we wouldn't expect them to actually incur cost with no guarantee of actually getting that at the other end. We thought that was a fair way to do it, that we pay for the expense that they're incurring.
Is it a sole agency though with the?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm getting mixed. It is?
It is.
Yes. Okay. And one more from me, if I may, Renee. The out-of-town people on the waiting list, the Courier, Queenstown, etc. Is there like a theme as to why they're choosing Ashburton? Is it generally family, or do you find there's themes running through?
It can be for a whole host of reasons, but family generally is something that draws people here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Looks like no further questions. Always popular. Thanks, Renee. Up next, finance. Gordon and Erin, top table. Morning to you both.
Good morning.
Anything further to add to your reports?
Nothing further to add for the annual report at this stage.
Thank you. Questions, councillors? Neelis.
Thank you. Just on page 10, you said that there'd been a total of 120 requests made for the interim audit. Is that on par with what happened last year, or is that an increase, decrease?
I would say it's a slight decrease from last year. There was a few more to and fro type requests going up last year.
Councillor Wilson.
When will the annual report, be available to look at? When to come to council, effectively be.
You're just trying to think of the dates for the draft going out, what will fit in.
Okay. Can we send councillors the timetable that's been
That'd be
agreed
great.
with the audit office?
Yes.
Thank you.
Perhaps if I just add, the audit starts mid-September, so they will have a draft ready at that point, so it won't be the final version, but we could certainly work that in. It won't work into a finance audit in Russ timeframe, but it would we'd be able to slot that into a council agenda timeframe if you wanted it to come through that mechanism.
Perhaps we could just circulate it to councillors rather than to an official meeting, because one of the issues around drafts is that it will inevitably change and we can start focusing on the wrong thing, but we can certainly circulate it so there's visibility.
What I'm asking is, it's quite good information for council to have when you're talking long-term plans. It's the real snapshot of what it actually was, it's been audited, so we can use that information quite helpful to going forward.
Further questions? That's it. Thank you, guys. Appreciate your time. Infrastructure. First up, solid waste management. Welcome to the top table, Neil. Chrissy and Justin, good morning.
Morning.
Anything further to add to your report, guys? Questions, Liz?
The reason for the increase in missed bins for June, yeah, I just don't know. I mean, they're missing whole streets. So were there new drivers? What was the case around that? Because I know I got a couple of phone calls and things, especially out in Rakaya, and if they'd missed it on a Friday and the people didn't get home till 5 o'clock and realise that their bin was missing, that they didn't know what to do. So what was the actual reason why the whole streets were missed?
So there's a process for, at the end of the day, the drivers will, especially Rakaya, Methven are further away, they'll send back to the yard and say I'm finished. It's up to the yard to check. It's up to the yard to check that all of the streets are being done. It kind of looks like that wasn't happening. The transport supervisor has since left, so he was kind of on his way out in those last few weeks. So we're just kind of thinking that, kind of losing interest. It's probably tricky to keep staff on when they know their job is ending at the, in a month or so. So a few of them had other roles to go to. So the ones that didn't carry on, so they've already left. Yeah, so we're just putting it down to that, unfortunately.
Councillor Gilkison.
Hi, Justin. It's not in your report, but I just wanted to see if you had any early feedback on the changes at the meth bin. How now people can only take their things when it's manned hours. Is that working? Are people listening? Are they respecting the signage?
We've got mixed results. I've put a few numbers in the Meth and Community Board report for you guys on the 10th. But yeah, mixed results. So yeah, it did start off pretty good. It's not the worst.
Okay.
Councillor Wilson.
The solid waste, the landfill remediation, I see Heinz has had some capping. So once because it was a hole, now you've filled the hole in. Once you've capped it, is that the end of it? We sort of say we've finished, or what? Do you have to keep monitoring? Because there's nothing to monitor if you've covered it over, is there? Sort of it's.
Yeah, we do keep monitoring it, but essentially when it's capped, we can grass it, we can lease it to someone, but it has got monitoring bores around it, so you need to keep an eye on the groundwater, being that it's an old landfill, it's not lined at the bottom, so material does still decompose and leach into the ground.
So what would, if you're monitoring it, what would happen if do you have to dig it all up, or because obviously you monitor stuff and that tells you something, you can't just ignore it. So what happens? How does that process unfold?
Yeah, it's probably more of an ECAN decision on what you have to do, but generally speaking, it's probably monitoring more for the health of other people in the area with downstream of the water.
Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. Morning, Justin. The refuge tipper at the Resource Recovery Park, do you just want to tell us a little bit about that, how it's working and the advantages of having it and why you did it?
Yep, so the tipper, essentially what it does is health and safety and diversion. So at the moment, the loader will stop operating if people are up on the concrete plinth close to the pit. With this in there, people can unload at the tipper. The loader can keep operating in the pit as well. So the staff are pretty happy with it. They're not sitting in the loader for half an hour at a time waiting for a string of people to come in and out. And also a points person up there can pull out any of the scrap metal reuse items that have been put on that tipper. So it's good feedback from staff and public at this stage.
Justin, have you considered any signage to say that it's to be operated by staff only? Because to be honest, when I dropped my first load off at it, I wondered if I was to do some tipping after I'd emptied. So have you had people trying to operate the thing or at all?
Yeah, we are still looking. It hasn't been in that long, but that is a good option is to put things like that. We haven't had too many questions because ideally there's somebody there, but there's not always someone there when they're on breaks and things like that. The machine can't be operated by anyone apart from the person who's wearing the fob around their neck. They have to be close. So it's got good, it's a very safe machine, but you're right in saying that that's good feedback anyway.
Cool, thanks. Councillor Cameron.
Thank you. General waste to Cape Valley trip data on page 13. In December, each trip appears to be relatively light, but we're doing more trips. Is that because it's full of polystyrene for Christmas presents, or why is that? I would have thought the weight of the trips would be reasonably consistent.
Yeah, that's December's going back a wee way, so I don't really have any information on that. But that is generally what it is. It's the material that comes in. It's the time that the staff have got to put light stuff aside and mix it with heavy stuff to try and get all the weights up throughout it. So yeah, there's a lot can go into it.
Okay, but the staff are aware they've got to try and compress it and compact as much stuff into each truck as possible. Like, the other thing is the curbside glass. I can't see, I'm just looking at the words, I can't see that there's a decrease looking at the wee bar graph. It looks pretty similar. But why do you think there's been a decrease in recycling over the time?
Yeah, again, it is. Oh, back again. Yeah,
I can hear you.
so when the graphs are on your screen, you can hover over. They'll give you numbers. Glass has been decreasing throughout the country. Recycling is a bit confusing on that one. It's had a couple of ups and downs, but yeah, over that time we have decreased in recycling. Yeah.
So that's a bit of a worry, given we're bringing in it. That's the big worry, I would think, given packaging is improving and there's more packaging that is able to be recyclable. Also, this is a picture, an imported picture, so we can't hover over it and get the numbers on what we've got. But that would be quite interesting, because that clearly we may need more education, or just remind people to try and recycle, because I wonder if people are just putting everything in the red bin to save being checked or worried about getting it wrong in the yellow bin. Yeah.
Yeah, as I say, it is a hard one to try and work out when there's it's just a gradual decrease. There could be something bigger that we don't know, but I mean, if people are putting stuff in a rubbish bin that could be recycled, we are still getting a lot of good recycling. Like, majority of our material that goes to the sorting facilities is recycled. So Timaru and Christchurch both want it. Like, Ashburton's recycling is quality recycling. So yeah, if we're not getting as much as we're getting, we're still getting quality, and none of it's getting thrown away. So that's a positive.
If I can just add, the tonnages of recycling is reducing somewhat, because there seems to be a reduction of glass. I think it was mentioned in there that there's a move from glass to more aluminium for drinks, so there could be an explanation of why the tonnage of the recycling of the glass, heavier tonnages, is being affected.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Neil, but it says recycling and glass, and they're done as different components in the bar graph, so both have gone down. Yeah, so I don't know.
There's more craft beer options in cans than beer bottles these days, so that could be a Timwald stat. Nixon Street stat. Stock water operations. Chrissy, have you got anything to add to your report? Questions, councillors? And we'll do the exit transition as well. Councillor Everest.
Thank you, Phil. Chrissy, just a quick question.
Oh, let's get you, grab your microphone.
Sorry, yeah.
Bang it right in front of you, please.
Thanks, Phil. Sorry. Chrissy, just a quick question. Are you getting any feedback at all, in a general term, from the closures?
Generally, no. There's the odd person that will ring up with the query, but John Wright has spoken. He's dealing with most of these people, that particularly alternatives and that sort of stuff. So John's pretty much all over that. He's the one who's doing most of the communicating with the.
I was getting more in terms of the feedback that you and your team are receiving from people, just in a general touching base as you're going around the properties.
Yeah, there's some people who aren't happy, and other people who can't wait for them to close. That's the feedback that the rangers are getting. So,
okay. Thank you.
Councillor Wilson.
Last night I attended the Mount Harding stream augmentation annual meeting, and there were just a couple of points there they brought up, Chrissy, which we need, because it's to do with the closing of the Pudding Hill stream. They were very interested as a community to understand the fish recovery process and the simple things like where do the fish get put and how many do you get. So I think that would be worth just thinking about, because of the community interest, and we don't want to get into a situation where we do it and they'll go, you missed some or you haven't done. We need the process to be quite clear as to how we do it and where we put them, probably, because they were saying don't put them somewhere you're going to close, and I thought, well, that we don't want to do, we won't do that, but I just thought it'd be worth socialising that, probably.
Sorry,
Yeah.
So I'm just working at the moment with our whenua's Mataitai Committee, Fish and Game and Dock, and we're actually going to go out either next week or the following week and do a site visit. So we do travel the whole network, have a look, review the eDNA testing, decide if we need to do a little bit more in the lead up to 30th September. And then we'll go out and we'll have 2 or 3 days out there with them. Fish and Game and Doc lead it, and it's actually Doc who make the decision where anything we retrieve goes. So it's actually out of our hands, so we're leaving it with the professionals. But and we have been saying that in our updates that go out, we're saying that we are working with alongside the professionals. So.
Yeah, no, that's a perfect answer. Yeah, and the second question, one of the ones was brought up, was the physical closing of some of the, do we, like so I think we've got here, we're going to Drayton Gate and what's that one called? Scarness Gate. We're going to close them, and they were just asking, does that mean you pour some concrete in there? Do you pull them out? Do you what do you do? And that was probably just a thought. I thought, how do we physically do that on the day? Because some people will be quite emotional, is the word I'd use. It's being shutting, so we just need to think in a just don't go up and dig it out and leave it lying on the bank, sort of thing. That's all I was getting at. So,
that's all on hand, Councillor Wilson.
Thank you. That's good. And the last question, just a plug for the Winchmore user survey's gone out and the public feedback is sought. We're having a public meeting held on the 17th here. So the Winchmore one for the wider community is the one that runs through the domain. So there may be some interest outside of normal users in that one. And if there's not any interest in that, well, that's fine. We can move forward with the process.
Thank you. Millers.
Thank you. The bush side one, so there's a group of interested property owners that we're going to put through a sort of a proposal of an alternate solution for that. Are you working with them, or are you just kind of waiting for them to put a proposal up by, I think it's the 18th of December? Are you having any communication with them, or are you just sort of leaving it to them and then they come to you with the proposal?
So there's been a few conversations between council officers, John Wright, Spaxton, and 2 or 3 of the interested people. So there's a whole lot of communication going on, because we feel that Spaxton's a really good way for them to look at how the process that they went through to set up their system, albeit theirs is a pipe system, whereas these guys will be looking at potentially even the race open as an open race. So there's a whole lot of dialogue going on at the moment, but we have suggested they do need to get legal advice as well going forward.
And they were looking at a wetland area, was that?
No, that was Alfred Forest. That was Alfred Forest.
Oh, that was Alfred Forest, not
Yes.
Bushside. Okay.
Yeah.
Looks like that's it. Thanks, Chrissy. Appreciate your time. Up next, Mark Chamberlain and Roads and Footpaths. Morning, Mark.
Morning.
Anything further to add?
Nothing to add, no.
We'll head straight to questions. Councillor Ellis.
Good morning, Mark. You did 8,000 kilometres of unsealed grading. How many kilometres of unsealed road do we actually have?
About 1,100 kilometres, yeah. And 8,000 kilometres, that's about our target for the year as well. So we keep monitoring that on a monthly basis now, but the amount that should be done each month and things like that, and talking to the contractor, but yeah.
Any further questions, councillors? Councillor Wilson.
I've just woken up, sorry. The works completed in 25-26. Can you, I'm trying to see what we're looking to complete in the next year, and that's a very clear graph in 2.4.2 of how much we've done for the year, and that's easy to read and easy to understand. But I'm trying to compare what we're looking to do in the next year, and I have to sort of, to extrapolate it out, it's quite difficult. Could we get it put in those simple terms? Because that's very easy to understand. How many Ks of resealing, how many, just what we're looking to do in the next year?
Yes, we can do that. So the rehabs, for example, they're further along in the report, so what we've got in the contracts. But yes, the length of reseals and what our targets are for grading for all those categories, if you like. I'll report them monthly, but it can be against the yearly target. Yeah.
Because it's if I'm the public member reading it, say 25-26, we did 86 k's of reseals completed, and I look at the next year and we're doing 50 k's of reseals, that is a drop in anybody's world. So that's sort of the number that it's an easy number for us to understand, and we can say that it's within a 3-year budget and all that, but a drop's a drop and an increase is an increase, and that is just, it's an easy metric to look at.
Yeah, and there can be a drop because it's the funding that is approved for over the 3 years. So the 86 kilometres is a bit more than what we had programmed because we had the funding approved to actually do more. So the last year will probably be less, but yes, I'll put that in there though. Yeah.
And probably on that line, if that's a great graph, the long-term budget of 24-25, the yellow, green, red, and the yellow line showing how the split happens, and it does show that we've actually been subsidising our roading quite a bit in the other 2 years. In the third year, and I guess it's because of budget constraints, we decided not to subsidise it as much. Is that?
Well, managed the funding we've had approved by NZTA over the 3 years. So you've done some a bit early, and this is what we've got left in the last year. So yeah.
What I'm getting at is 24-25, we put 4.6 million into unsubsidised. 25-26, we put 1.1, and then we went down to 870,000 in the third year.
Yep.
We could have chosen as the council to put 4.6 in the third year if we'd wanted, couldn't we?
Yeah, that was the total that council had in the first year. Had for, over the 3 years for our low cost, low risk in particular, and that was just about the $6 million that we had that didn't get matched with subsidy, so that's why it's available for us to use any way we choose, really. So any way you choose, should I say? Yeah.
And just to clarify that further, my understanding, Mark, is that as the 3-year program unfolds, there has been offers of additional subsidy, and we've used the unsub money to support additional work subsidised, and therefore it may well be showing in this graph as less unsub, but the contribution from council from a budgetary point of view remained the same. It's just that it was then used to match subsidisable work as opposed to being continued as showing as not subsidised.
Yes, in 25, 26, or the year just gone, we got extra approved, so that's why it's 1.1. It was originally close to $3 million there. So
yeah. The budget, my point is that the budget allocation for non-sub from council was the same.
Yeah.
It's just that it changed category with the additional subsidy offered by NZTA.
Miller's.
Thank you. Couple of questions. So the bridge work, the piling, I drove past the other day. It looks like it's going well, and you showed us a wee video yesterday at the road safety meeting. Is there a site visit sort of scheduled for the next month or so for the councillors?
Yes, there's one in planning.
Yep. Thank you. And the Will Street rail footbridge, so looks like there was a bit more damage to some of the timber than possibly we thought. Is that going to add any extra cost? Are they going to need to use more of that imported timber or the hardwood to fix it up?
yes, sourcing more timber. Not a big extra cost on the job, and there's a couple of things that sort of haven't had to be done as well. So just an update on. So you've seen it's been covered over. So the main truss has been cleaned and painted, and they're working on the West Street side. The approach to the most, they're doing the cleaning of that, then move across to the East Street side. So the main truss itself has been cleaned up. Done a couple of repairs to a couple of areas that they found when they sandblasted it that weren't too flash. So that was just all expected as well. So and mainly where it connects back in again, just to make sure that's strong enough. But there's been nothing major that's come up, just the rotten timbers and a few bits of the iron that wasn't as good as it could be, but it is over 100 years old, so it's not really a big surprise. So.
And when's that expected to be completed by?
It'll be around October, I think, the way we're going at the moment. So,
okay. So a few more months.
Yeah, unfortunately, but yeah.
Councillor Maxwell.
Just quickly, Mark, you're busy putting the plans, your drafts and things together now for the new next 3-year plan. When do you hear back? What date do you find out? When your budget's been approved. And I'm pretty sure you said in the road safety meeting that the government's focus is now more around potholes and maintenance. Is that correct?
Oh, and that's in the current 3 years. That was certainly the pothole prevention was the thing that they put out there across the whole country, not just here. And that's in the indication that's what's going to be for the next 3 years as well. there is an election coming up, so whether there's a change of focus, it depends on what comes out in the government policy statement on transportation. There may be a different focus, but the indications are maintenance is still the key thing, as well as you're building some new motorways and bridges. I'm here anyway, but that's still the intention anyway. So yeah, we're putting a bid in later this month, our initial bid, to give them indication, and then sort of more of a final bid will be in December after we've had some feedback from them. Then we'll become to council, but before then as well. We won't know what the decision is until August next year. So.
Oh, you're away. Ta.
Yeah.
Mr. CE.
Could I just add, tell me if I'm wrong, Mark, but my information that we received at a meeting I was at on just Monday this week is urging councils to be very conservative with the amounts they request, because the money available from the government for roading is severely restricted. And so yes, we can go through our process to request what we think the network needs, and that's the right thing to do. But every indication is that as cars get more efficient and more electric cars on the road, the pool of money via the current funding mechanisms of fuel tax and road user charges are decreasing. And so the money available to support council's bids is under severe pressure. So one of the things that we will be asking you to consider is, yes, make the bid for what you wish, but you will need to factor in this message now that subsidised money is under significant pressure. And in fact, my understanding is the mayoral forum is going to get that message, or the regional transport committee, which meets immediately before the mayoral forum. If they haven't already had that message, they're going to get that message in a very formal way from the people who know more.
Yeah, and we've been working on the regional land transfer program for 27 to 30 as well, so bringing things together. And the main focus that's come up from the region is that maintenance of what we've already got is our priority, and then projects are after that. So if we get funding for our maintenance, that's great. If we get a bit more, then we will start working on the projects. And we don't have any projects here that stand out, but councils like Selwyn and Christchurch do have a lot of projects that they sort of do need to do, particularly Selwyn with their growth and things like that. But our focus is maintaining what we've got for a start.
Councillor Moffat.
Back to the footbridge. I had someone talking about how slippery that bridge is, before it's been fixed, obviously. So just wondering, some sort of resurfacing on there, so the weather we've had the last couple of days, you wouldn't be falling over the way you would be in the past?
Well, there had been work done on the bridge previously, so it had a bitumen tiles put on the deck, and it had some netting as well and things. So yes, what we're putting in place, not slippery, but having said that, if you get the right weather, everything is slippery. But there's been the warnings on that, so there has been that in the past. One of the things that came back from the inspection of it, having bitumen tiles on top of timber isn't good for the timber. It doesn't allow it to breathe, or it sort of holds moisture too much. So it helps with one thing, but doesn't help with the aging of the timber. But yes, we're making sure it's not a slippery surface. Yeah.
And just one other thing, as far as the future of the footbridge goes, is there a budget set aside for regular maintenance of it, that kind of thing?
It's part of our overall structures maintenance, and that's been one of the issues why we haven't done much work, because we didn't have enough for doing work on all our bridges, let alone just that one. But we've got it now. It'll be part of our ongoing maintenance in the future, yeah, along with all our other 150 bridges that we've got. So, yeah.
Councillor Evist.
Yeah, just further to CEO's comment, I'd be concerned if we weren't putting up to the government, even though they may not fund it, what our actual maintenance requirements for that roading is, because they need a clear message of what that actually is, rather than some reduced figure that would result in lack of maintenance and still more potholes, dare I say it. So, I mean, I'd caution that we actually still put forward our project, our maintenance, but in the knowledge that we may not receive the funds, which I think is the message you were hopefully trying to get across to us.
100%, 100% right. We should signal what we think the network needs and we can afford, my message really was around managing expectations of approval.
Thank you.
Councillor Wilson.
Is it fair to say that we had a workshop a while ago where we, as council, indicated that we were willing to spend a bit more on roading, so that'll be factored into your basis?
That's the basis of it, but yes, based on the feedback you gave us, so it's about at that 7.5%, 8%. Yeah, and it's determined. I agree with what Hamish says. It's what the government is willing to put into it. It's also what council can afford to share as well. And in reality, we haven't been able to do what the network needs for probably 15 to 20 years now. That's reality in terms of the money is getting less and less. So and all the network is getting older. So I've been doing this for over 40 years. So the roads I walked after 40 years ago were a lot better than what they are today because I've had 40 years of traffic on them. So everything wears out once it's been used for a while. So yeah.
I had a ratepayer send me a copy of their invoice for new rims, and it was from a pothole on Will Street. And it was just a reminder that we need to keep up with our core services more than anything. But I was wondering if the staff receive similar and what the response is generally. Maybe a question for you, Neil. I'm not sure.
We do receive them. I think you know what the response is. Yeah.
Drive carefully. Use Snap, Send, Solve.
Yeah, from my personal experience, yesterday there were two big potholes just down Havelock Street, and I quickly did a Snap, Send, Solve. 2 weeks ago it was repaired within 2 days.
Yep.
So they generally are onto it, and they do respond quickly, so if people can just be encouraged to do so. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for the reminder. Councillor Moffat.
Now that that's been brought up, I wasn't going to bring it up, but I will. I sent a Snap, Send, Solve of some footpath dips like this that fill up with water and freeze over, and I didn't actually get a response to that. So is that me not using the app properly or what?
Oh, if you can give me the details, I'll look into that. Yeah.
Councillor Everest.
Yes, thank you. I guess, Neil, the question is, if we've been underfunded for, let's say, 20 years in the roading thing, let's say 10 to 20, let's call it that, how can we actually use the funds that we've got more efficiently and effectively? Is there any ways in which we can actually achieve better results? To the two of you, really. Sorry, it's not to you directly.
Mike's probably more qualified to answer that.
I would question that we haven't been using the funds sufficiently at the moment because I've been here coming up 5 years, and the team knows the network really well and knows where the work is needed, and prioritise the work based on the need, not necessarily on a personal feeling or things like that, based on the needs of the network. But there's always bits that we can't get to soon enough, and Beach Road East is one of those. We're doing it this year, but ideally we would have done it 2 years ago, but didn't have the money to do it 2 years ago, but we did 2 other sections that were worse than that one. So I think we do use it very efficiently. I think the audits and the feedback from NZTA when they've done inspections, they agree with that. They agree with how we're running the network, and knowledge of the network is where it should be. So we do it where it's needed, but we can't do everything, and so it is a priority thing. So, yeah.
Will the review of the health and safety requirements that have been now imposed on us by government for future contracts, will that help spread that dollar further?
Which health and safety requirements are those?
Reduced road cones?
Oh, yeah, that's traffic management. Well, the road cones aren't really the issue. It's sort of it's the network. So and it's the contractors that put the road cones out there. So it's not just a requirement that we have, but you do need to have people being alerted to where work has been done or where there are faults on the network. So yeah, that won't change the condition of the network though, unfortunately.
No, but there might be a reasonable expectation that if the extent of the traffic management requirements are a little bit less, then the dollars might go a little bit further in the actual work. I think that's really the point. The cost for our maintenance and our rehab contractors, the amount of cost of traffic management is actually quite a very low percentage of what we do. But then you have come some specialist work where it costs a lot more. And I think in the rehab contract we've just had there, the number in terms of dollars on traffic management is actually very low because of the way they manage it. So, yeah.
Just getting back to the previous question on the efficiencies of the money that we do ultimately get. While we provide our proposal to NCTA for funding, we'll base that on what's best for the network. And then depending on the government policy statement and the funding, we then get it changed. So what our staff then have to do is then adjust accordingly and prioritise. And that's when we do have the unsubsidised budget and we present to council what we believe we would prioritise for the network to be used for the, for the unsubsidised spending. So that's the best we can do with prioritising the assets.
Yeah, I'll just add as well. So our asset management plan, that's basically a business case that we submit to NZTA. So for roading, and in that it says, ideally we wanted this, we wanted this much, we only got this much. So this is how we're managing it, and we've focused on what we want to do is the rehabs on a sealed network in particular, where it's failed, and it shows that how we balance that and the difference that makes. And you can drive along Thompson's Track and you can know where we've actually done the work, and we know we still need to do the work. So it is quite obvious. We're just gradually getting there. So that's something that NZTA commented in our AMP as well. It was pragmatic about understanding what the network needs, but we're managing the money that we've got. So yeah.
Councillor Ellis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can I ask a question on tenders in Lakewood?
Yep, we're going to that next, so yep.
Cool. The shingle road round the back of Lakewood, is it part of our schedule roads or is it on private land? So any work we do on there is basically unsubsidised roading, if you like, and comes out of some...
That's correct. It's not part of the roading network, so it's really open spaces land, and it's a track on our open spaces land.
Any further, Mark, you're all good to go, thank you. Any further questions on contracts and Lakewood?
Just for councillors' benefit, there's been quite a few questions regarding tenders and pricing with regards to the fuel increase over the last few months. We just had a wastewater renewals tender close 2-3 weeks ago, and surprisingly that all three tenders were very close to the engineer's estimate. So we haven't seen a pickup yet, particularly in plastic pipes. So yeah, just to let you know that.
Thank you. Councillor Wilson.
Lakewood, I'm guessing there's interest in the public. Obviously, we've had workshops and we're looking to employ an operations manager. Could you perhaps inform us where that's at, and perhaps the process forward, because people have seen that it's the levels dropped, and they'll be very interested to understand what our thoughts and our processes for the next few months coming into the busy season.
Yes, so we're currently doing the winter maintenance, so we've dropped the level really low so we can do all the work around the boat ramps and the edging of the banks where there's been scouring. We're also lowering the outlet at the end of the water ski area just to try and improve the flow and the circulation of the water through that area where we've experienced the algae the most in this past season. Going forward, the projects manager is out, has been advertised. The application's closed today. When I checked this morning, we've got 22 applications for the role. Awesome. Definitely a few that we'll be interviewing, shortlisting and interviewing. And in terms of the going forward, we are in the process of developing the hydrodynamic model with the help of Earth Sciences New Zealand and Lincoln University, and hoping to get some results of that in the next few months, so they can try and, that can feed into our planning and budgeting and what we put forward for the long-term plan. We will be providing a business case for some funding in the long-term plan based on our best information that we have at the moment. But we'll no doubt refine it over the next few months as we get more information from the hydrodynamic modelling.
Will the consent process be included in the long-term plan? Because obviously our consent expires within the next 10 years, so we need to be thinking how we deal with that. Will that be included in the long-term plan?
Definitely. So all the preliminary work will be included in the first few years of this long-term plan to gear up towards the consent applications and preliminary design.
Councillor Everest.
Thank you, Phil. Neil, thanks for the update. I guess the question is that Dr. Susie Wood identified as the sediment, particularly for phosphate, as being a challenge for us. Have we looked at any of the sediment levels in the lake, given that we've now got it so low?
Yes, that was raised last week, and Susie was arranging for her students to come and take some sediment samples while the level is low, so she can help with her analysis and understanding of the sediment. Yeah.
Thank you.
That looks like it. Thanks, Neil. Up next, compliance and development. Building services first up. Welcome Ian Hyde to the top table and Michael Wong. Morning, Michael. Anything further to add to your report?
Yes, on page 36, the second bullet point about self-certification of plumbers. When I wrote this, we were excluded from processing of the consents, but MB have now said that we actually still have to process. And they're also going to clarify that if we're on site doing inspections for other things and we notice something's wrong, what do we do about it? Do we have a duty of care to report it, or do we just leave it to the self-certified plumber? So we're still waiting an answer on that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Questions, councillors? Councillor Everest. Oh,
Not a question, but sorry. You go. Not a question, but a statement to you, Michael. We get very little positive feedback, and I was in an event the other day, and we had some amazing positive feedback to you and the team for the work that you've done for the Aircraft Museum or Aviation Museum, and their ability to be able to utilise it when parts of it when things weren't quite completed on the rest of it. So, well done, team. We don't often get that good feedback. It's usually the grizzles and groans. So, well done. Thank you.
thanks, Phil.
Thank you. I'll pass that on to the team.
Thanks for raising that, Councillor Everest. I just hearing Michael talk about the self-certifying change, if you like, to plumbing and drain laying. My understanding is that electrical is already self-certifying. Is that correct? So is the regime for electrical being replicated? You know, or is there seen? Like, do we spot something wrong with a wire and have to report it and have obligations? Are we treating the self-certification regimes quite differently between electrical and the change to the plumbing?
Yeah, through the chair, they're hoping to replicate the scheme.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got experience in dealing with that self-certification aspect of some parts of a build.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Councillor Wilson.
It's to do with EV charging. They've obviously recognised that EVs go on fire and burn houses down, so they're looking to change the rules where you park in your garage. And that, what would that look like? So that, if I said the bottom line, it says ongoing infrastructure costs depending on the charging option they select. What would that mean if I was building a house?
So from the 13th of November, any new house that has an attached garage or a standalone garage will have to have a full EV charging station built into it. So that could add a cost of between $800 or $8,000, depending on what type of charging facility you put into your house, regardless of whether you own an EV or not.
So so that means it's not like a 3-point plug in the front of your garage. It's a full...
No, there's 3 types that you can put in, and they need a separate circuit, separate distribution board, upgraded wiring. So it does put additional loads on the infrastructure. So we've been working with EA Networks to work out a plan of attack coming November on even all these new subdivisions. Instead of them putting a 11,000 kV transformer in, they might need to up it to 22 to allow for all this extra load or potential load.
Is there any change to the likes of the fire rating of a garage to separate from the house?
That's our concern, is that there is no mention about having to have a firewall between the garage and, say, a bedroom.
Mayor Liz.
Okay, thank you. Earthquake prone building amendments, so how many have we got on our register at the moment?
We have less than 30.
Less than 30, so we could end up with one or two that-
if the bill goes through as proposed, every earthquake prone building outside of Ashburton will magically disappear.
Councillor Maxwell.
It's just a question, Michael, and you won't be able to change this. And I assume the discussions will go with EA. For some of us who are rural, who are on those Lisa power lines, nobody's fault. It's just where we are. I assume we will have discussions with EA Networks because we'd been told in the past the three of us hooked into EV cars that our load on our line could not take it. And is there a greater fire risk when it cannot take that load?
I'm no expert in that, but I would assume so. EA are aware of the issue in the rural areas, and maybe we might get a lot of storage sheds instead of garages being built.
Further questions? Thanks, Michael. Thank you. Appreciate your time. Civil Defence, Emergency Management. Morning, Jim. Anything further to your report, mate?
You just, through the chair, when I wrote this, we were in the planning stages for H5N1 bird flu. That continues even though we've now had 2 wild birds, obviously, have tested positive in the North Island, so the planning continues.
Thank you. Questions? Councillor Wilson.
Probably further to that, Jim, we had a presentation from ECAN yesterday at the biodiversity meeting about the bird flu and the ramifications. And one of the big questions was asked was, if you've got dead birds, if say it happens and you have 10 dead birds piled up at your gate, how do you dispose of them? And they were asking council around that question of, I think Kate Valley said it doesn't want a whole lot of dead birds. They're probably meaning thousands of dead chickens. But so we probably need to be very clear on how people would dispose of birds, and you don't touch them because that's with your hands. You use safety stuff, but it's probably the disposal was something that we weren't sure how that was tackled. So it'd be great to understand that what you do with the dead bird.
And that's been the conundrum from the moment the planning started on this. So we've been sort of working on this for about 18 months, and there's been a lot of talk around the disposal, and I've raised it 2 or 3 times. It's going to need leadership, and I know that our local contractors they have a lot of questions as well. So we have posed to ECAN a number of suggestions, and we're just waiting for someone to take a leadership role in this and tell us how we're going to deal with the disposal of large numbers of birds and even small numbers.
Hamish?
We received an update at a meeting I was at earlier in the week from MPI, who are the lead agency for the bird flu planning and how it might be handled. And I wonder whether councillors might appreciate a briefing from Diane, who is the regional director of MPI in the South Island, and it was a very thorough and comprehensive briefing. And given that we're supporting MPI as the lead agency, it might be valuable for both the council but through us, the community, to hear directly from her. If that's of interest, we'll look to invite her to a soon forum where you can get an update from her as well.
Lots of nods.
Lots of nods, yep. Thank you.
Thanks, Hamish. Councillor Wilson.
Yeah, it would be great to understand it, but also I think council needs to make a call as to where the birds go, because people will just put them in the rubbish bin otherwise. So we need to, because it's an interesting comment made by ECAN. They made the comment that they're restricting their people going on to counting birds in bird sanctuaries, and it wasn't to do with spreading the bird flu, it was to do with the health and safety of their people. So it was more, if they had a whole lot of dead birds, they weren't going to go near it. But obviously, if you've got a whole lot of dead birds on your property, you live there, you can't not go near it. So I think it's that chicken and egg thing you say.
Yeah, it's all of that. I mean, the planning reminded me a little bit of the pre-COVID planning. You could see it coming. You knew it was going to get here. Most experts say it's inevitable. So how are you preparing for it? And council's role in those early days was to amplify the message of the Ministry of Health. And this is a little bit the same. It's MPI's crisis, if you like, they're the lead agency, and we want to do all we can to have the communication strong and clear, but amplifying their messages rather than starting to put our own spin on things and having bespoke solutions and good ideas that are sort of outside the mainstream lead agency's work. So we're certainly very conscious of it, and I know Rick and Ian and Jim have been doing a lot of work in the area. So it is a matter of getting it right, but in support of MPI in particular.
Thanks, Hamish. Any further questions? Last second puns?
No, I just
Good.
No, I haven't, but I just think we need to be very clear very quickly as to what people do with the dead birds. And it might be MPI, or someone needs to deal with it, otherwise they'll all be in our rubbish bins.
Thanks, Jim. Excellent report. Alcohol licensing. Morning, Rick.
Morning, councillors.
Anything further to your report?
Nothing further to add to the alcohol licensing, but I do have a point of information for councillors when we get to the dog control.
Thank you. Anything on alcohol licensing, councillors? Okay, let's do your point for the animal control.
Thank you. Through the chair, councillors might like to know that where I've referred to the dog registration at the bottom there. The councillors will be aware we've got a new scheme in place regards the online invoicing, and that's proven to be successful. We're already at 90% of dogs registered, which is an excellent position to be in at this stage.
Brilliant. I had a question around barking complaints. Rick, if somebody calls about a dog today, neighbour calls about the same dog tomorrow, does that count as one complaint because it's one dog, or is it two complaints? I just wondered about your figures, like sort of May is 35 complaints. So is that 35 separate dogs, I guess is the question.
Thank you. If it's the same person complaining about the same dog, then it's added to that CRM.
Yeah.
If it's a different person, then it's a different complaint, but they're linked together as the same investigation.
Right,
so there can be an overlap of figures when we break it further.
So the 35 in May could have been all about one dog, theoretically.
It could be, but unlikely.
Yeah. Further questions? Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. Do we get many instances of people complaining about someone having more than 2 dogs on their property? Because if they do, they need a special permit, don't they? And it's something I just hear, oh, they've got 3 or 4 dogs. How do we know they're allowed to have that and that sort of thing?
Thank you, through the chair. That is a combination of things. It can be a complaint, but equally where our contractors are patrolling and they spot a number of dogs in a property, they will check on the status for that property. And our internal staff will as well. When they're looking at registrations and following up, they're equally looking at the number on the property and whether that's changed or not.
Councillor Wilson.
I came across an interesting suggestion the other day. It's to do with dogs in the long-term plan effectively around where it's in a rural environment where shepherds, young shepherds, have a team of 4 or 5 dogs that are rotating through different stages of use, selling and buying them, where they could get a license that sort of covered them off for the team rather than the individual dog. Because probably at the moment they might register one, but several don't exist because they're existing in different stages of use as it was. So is that something we could investigate?
Thank you, through the chair. We're always looking at ways to investigate and work with people to ensure dogs are registered, so it helps us and the public. So always open to new suggestions.
Liz.
I saw that that suggestion as well, and I thought it was actually a really good idea, and probably something that hadn't been brought up before. So I guess that came through our submission or consultation process for the. So it's something we could look at for fees and charges next time. But yeah, I think that's well worth looking at. But just a question on the dog registration. So I've got a dog, so I got an email to say, please register your dog, which I did. I went on, but I didn't have a confirmation email. Should a confirmation email come through once you have registered?
Through the chair, I'd have to just look into that as to how the process is going.
Yeah,
because it's all been adjusted and amended and tightened up as things like this come to light.
Yeah, I'm just thinking because I got a reminder to say, please, it's coming to the end of the month, please pay, but I never got a confirmation, so it just might be worth checking that in case people have not had confirmation emails, and you could end up with people who haven't paid but thinking that that they have or they've
And it's something we're working hand in hand with our IS. So anything like this, we can look into fine tuning.
And it was a much easier way to do it, so it was good.
And just as an additional point of information regards the team of dogs and so on, some years ago, with greyhounds, we worked with the industry there because there were a colossal amount of greyhounds that were not being registered. And by working with the industry, we were able to bring them on board, and certainly for something like this, we're quite happy to work with people.
Councillor Maxwell.
I'd also agree with Liz. I never got a confirmation email either. And this is a question probably not maybe for you, maybe for IT, but when you have a team of dogs on your farm, the website's not that great at registering them. So you have to go through, tick one, go back, tick the next one, go back, tick the next one, go back. Can there not be a system where I can check all of the dogs in one hit? And yeah, because you have to go out of checkout and go all the way back, pick up the next dog and take it through again.
Thank you. Through the chair, I can certainly look into that for you, and again, something we can raise with IS to see if that's possible.
3.5, food safety. Anything to add to that element of your report, Rick?
No, thank you.
No. Any questions on food safety? Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. Just no issues came from any of the inspections that caused concern?
No cause for concern, no, Councillor. There's been some corrective actions along the way, as with all premises, but nothing of major issue.
Good work. Thanks, Rick. Appreciate your report, your time.
Thank you.
Up next, it's planning. Brad Thompson. Morning, Brad.
Morning.
Anything further to add, mate?
No, nothing further.
Questions, councillors? Liz.
Thank you. I'm just being nosy, but can you tell me where P Waka Waka Estate is in Methven? Is it a new subdivision?
No, it's the 3 empty pieces of land that sit behind the blue pub. There's 3 sections that are just gravel at the moment.
Ah, okay, where the Bryant's Lodge was. Yes, okay.
Further questions? Good to go. Thanks for your report, Brad. Economic Development, Shelley Donnelly. Morning, Shelley.
Good morning.
Anything to add to your report?
No, thank you.
Questions, councillors? Millers.
Thank you. Just on the citizenship ceremony, so we had our first one in the evening, a couple of weeks or a week or so ago. Did you get any feedback on that? Were people quite happy with an evening one? Did we get people that chose that event because it was evening opposed to having it in the morning?
Thank you. Through the chair, we had a couple of attendees say that this was much more convenient for them, and their children could attend, and family members that otherwise would be working. We had some feedback from one of the local eateries saying that they received quite a lot of people coming over the road to have a meal afterwards, so that was a good outcome as well. But there wasn't an overwhelming response of the option available.
Councillor Gilkison.
Hi Shelley, just a question around the Event Organisers 101 workshop. I think it's great that you've had it to make it easier for everyone. What was the key takeaway from participants that they didn't understand that now they do about doing events with council?
Thank you, through the chair. I think the key takeaway was that there's a lot of preparation to do. Most people don't understand the extent of information required by the event organiser prior to approaching the council. So the handbook's given them a really clear understanding of everything they need to have, all the ducks lined up before they come to council with that information. It's not just as easy as hiring a location and then having people turn up.
Okay. And do you recommend they talk to you before they even do the location, just to be like, what do I do, or
Yes, it certainly doesn't hurt. Hiring the location may include public toilets, but if they're having a certain amount of attendees, they may also need portaloos, depending on the functionality of the toilets available. They might need power that's not actually on site. That can't be determined from the location alone.
Cool.
On that, Shelley, did our current active event organisers attend that 101 workshop?
Several did. I think there was 20 in total attended. There were some event organisers that are annually organising events that did not.
Thank you. And the people who went to Glow in the Park, I see 23% from Christchurch, 11% from Selwyn. What was? Do you know the figure off the top of your head for Timaru, and do we target north more than south, or is it, like we seem to get traditionally for Boulevard Day really good attendance from Timaru on their anniversary day, of course, but yeah, they didn't come for this, it would appear.
Off the top of my head, I can't give you the Timaru South Canterbury figures. I know that they did feature, but I couldn't tell you what they were. I can provide that though. I don't think that we're not in their thoughts, because a lot of people we talked to were from South, who had come specifically for the event, as far away as Haast and Wanaka. There were definitely people here from Timaru. They said they come every year. The figures just haven't come through in the reporting.
Cool, but there's no skew north as far as advertising goes or anything like that. It's a
correct
blanket. Yeah, cool. I thought as much. Thank you. Councillor Everest.
Thank you, Phil. Hi, Shelley. Great to see a successful Glow in the Park after a fair bit of debate around the table here. Do you have a better picture in terms of total attendees over the night? We saw some reported in the media, but do we have a better picture of that?
Yes, thank you. Through the chair. We're fairly confident with the figures that we came up with across the 3 nights, which total around 45,000. We had physical people clicking at 2 entry and exit points. We also worked with the event organisers and the security teams who regularly attend events that are large and have a good understanding of crowd capacity and sizing. And with our physical clickers and their knowledge, that's where we come up with the 45,000 across the 3 nights. It could have been more, it could have been less, but that was generally agreed by everybody.
Thank you.
Councillor Wilson.
Can you just refresh me? Obviously, once you've finished one event, you look forward to the next year, and it's an unusual event, the timing of it, because it's a long way out in our budget process. It's right at the very end of our budget process for next year. So can you refresh us so for next year's event, what is the current thinking after the day after this one? Just to
Thank you, through the chair. Next event, which is this financial year, we are potentially looking to work with Ara Whenua to maybe incorporate the Glow in the Park event within Matariki. There's still some further formalised talks to be done yet. But that aside, we have a healthier budget this year, and we are going out with an annual sponsorship plan early for all council-led events to try to get ahead of the budget issues that we saw last time. The perennial question around location of the event is another thing that we're still actively considering. It's so great there, but it's also fraught with traffic issues and costs that come with that. But potentially, if it is a Matariki event, it could be broken up into smaller sized events, incorporating all of the installations, but in several locations.
Councillor Kilkerson.
Mayor's Task Force for Jobs, I know that when they kind of changed, I don't know how to word it, from NEET to the other, type of job seekers, and there was a bit of nervousness around it, but it seems to be going really well. Do you have a comment on that?
Thank you, through the chair. Yes, initially when the contract was changed last year to a targeted job seeker requirement, it was a big change, and it was slow to kick in because there were a lot more processes required with MSD as well. But that is now running quite nicely. There's a monthly update required with MSD, and those relationships are going very well, and it has all come through at the end.
Yeah, that's good. I have had feedback from someone who's used the service as an employer, and they were really happy with Sharon and the people that they employed. So, well done.
Thank you. I'll pass the feedback on.
Councillor Moffat.
Hello. With the renamed Hakateri Food Festival, which was the Noodle Night Festival, will there be less of a multicultural dimension to that now? Because I do believe originally it was more of a sort of welcoming communities type event. Will it not be so much that now?
Thank you, through the chair. No, that's not the case. The event will still be occurring at the end of Welcoming Communities Week. The change in the name is more to be more inclusive of all foods. It's not specifically noodles. We had some vendors trying to make noodle pizzas and things that were very difficult. The focus of the event now being called the Food Festival actually celebrates the global cuisine that we have on offer within our district and how it's woven through our community by our migrants, represented via the food trucks at the event. So there'll still be plenty of participation, and where Mercedes is involved in the organising as well.
That's a great idea. Further questions? Looks like that's it. Thanks, Shelley. Appreciate your time and your report.
Thank you.
We are 2 minutes early, but we will take a break and be back here at 11:05. Thank you. briefing and people and facilities. So we welcome up Sarah, and first up, council services, Amanda Watson. Morning, Amanda.
Good morning all. Oh, good morning all.
Anything to add to your report?
It was just a great way of doing a summary for the year we've just completed. But no, just now forging ahead with the new one.
Thank you. Questions, councillors? Millers.
Just following on from my question before about dog registrations and not receiving a receipt, I've just found out that if you tick the box to say you want to receive the receipt and put your email address in, you will get one, which I obviously did not do. So that's thanks for clarifying that.
Excellent. Anything further, councillors? Good to go. Thanks, Amanda. Thanks for your report. Library, Jane Riak. Morning, Jane.
Morning, everyone.
Anything further to your report?
No.
Questions, councillors? Councillor Gilkison.
Hi Jane, we've recently, there's a new EDM service going on, and so emails are more proactively going out. Have you had feedback from people on them that they're more likely to know what's happening at the library and everything like that? Have you been able to be more targeted, or any feedback, thoughts? Or has it always been the same for the library, but it's more other people that it's changed?
I'm not aware of what you're talking about.
Oh, the EDM. Apologies. So like you email people with what's happening.
The library sends out a newsletter monthly to people about what's happening in the library. That's how we communicate with the community, and we've done that probably since just before we came to this building. And it has a lot of really good response and cut through. We get a lot of programs suddenly getting bookings. When the newsletter goes out, you get a rush of bookings. And, yeah.
Is monthly enough then, if it is working well? Can you be more targeted?
Yes, so we're just starting to work with Constant Contact, who have provided a new product that we can actually target more finely into different groups. And so with that, we are currently working on a way of identifying different target groups and being able to target them, you know, for instance, families with programs that are happening for children, or, yeah. So we are working on that currently. Yeah.
Cool.
Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. Good morning. Recycle a device. You've distributed 2 laptops, but there's 43 people on the wait list. Is that just a shortage of laptops to refresh and redistribute, or what's?
Through the chair, it just depends. So the laptops come to us in various states of repair, and what we do is we use that recycle a device session with the young people to refurbish those devices, and it just takes time to refurbish them. We've had to recycle a lot of them, the parts of a lot of them recently, so they haven't then been able to be moved into the stream for giving out to people. Yeah.
And supplementary, is council on board with this when our laptops need refreshing and we have old ones? Do we go through this process, or how do we dispose of our old laptop?
Through the chair, the devices that they use are actually more, I'm going to say, laptops as opposed to surfaces. So there are different criteria to enable the build factor to occur. So it's not our specific ones. Ours go through a process and get sold.
Thank you. The Sahaja Yoga, where and when do you do this? Oh, not that you do it, Jane, but the experts do it, the yogis?
So it's misnamed really. Sahaja yoga is actually a meditation. So they sit there in the room peacefully, calmly, and they meditate. And it's held generally in the Ashburton Lakes room, sometimes in the Banded Dotterel room.
What time of the day is it going on? Just
In the Thursday evenings around 6:45.
okay. We may need it, yeah, straight after this afternoon, yeah. Millers.
Thank you. Hi, Jane. Just looking at the visitation numbers, so they're sort of down on last year, although last year seemed to be very high. Is that just kind of a settling because the number of books issued still looks reasonably high?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the visitation is for Te Pari Whakatiri, so it's the whole building.
Okay.
What we have, and through the people counters being at the two sets of the main doors and the cafe door, what we've noticed is the decline is actually the decline of visitation to council services.
Right.
For example, and Amanda would vouch for this if she was here too, the dog registration, the email process has been very successful. Online email processes mean less people walking into the building. So the measure of visitation and then applying that the library hasn't had as many visitors isn't actually a true measure. The books issued is a closer measure to the library use, but that's the factor of a joint building.
Okay, that makes sense.
Councillor Moffat.
Morning. I'm interested in the Year 11 Ashburton College Networking Day that you held, and there was a big turnout, I guess, all the Year 11. So what was that about, and highlighting the opportunities in librarianship? Is this like a careers day for librarians?
Yes, that's exactly what it was. It was actually held at the Hotel Ashburton, and lots of different businesses and people around the district went there and spent time with the kids, talking to them about the opportunities that were available. For us, it was about showcasing the fact that librarianship is not just about books, that there are lots of opportunities if you're interested in computing or music and all those other things, that there are pathways for those kids as well.
I know you don't have a crystal ball, but is that an area that some sort of internship or something like that could come up here at our library?
Well, we have student roles that we actually have in the library. We have student workers, and sometimes they have moved into library positions as they've become vacant. One of the things that the library does is support library training for people who come on board to work in the library.
Okay.
We had a Yag Hui last night, and I just wanted to give Anna a shout out. Not only on the night is she brilliant, she stays behind for the improv night, but she's also passed on some advice around advertising and promoting the event. So if you could pass on a pat on the back and share our thanks.
I will, thank you. It's something we're actually really excited about, our collaborations with them too.
Yeah, cool. Okay, looks like the end of the questions. Thanks, Jane. Appreciate your time and your report.
Thank you.
EA Network Centre, Richard Wood. Morning, Richard.
Morning all.
Anything to add to your report?
Just one thing that doesn't technically fall under this time frame, but we've the tail end of last week we've just been notified that we've been nominated for a Aquatic Innovation Operations Award at the National Aquatics Awards in about 3 weeks for our ILTP, so our lifeguarding program, and the other nominees in that Auckland Uni, Belgravia Leisure, who are a multinational leisure operator, and Bay Venues out of Tauranga. So we're kind of punching in pretty good standing there.
Well done. Awesome. Questions, councillors? Councillor Gilkison.
How do you set your KPIs?
I was going to say poorly. That's a wee bit of tongue in cheek. It is a process through the LTP, so once they're set, no matter what happens in the subsequent years, you can't change them. So clearly, if they were able to be reviewed, we would have pushed them up, knowing what we now know. So we are doing a reset for the next LTP. But it is, I guess it's trying to foresee the future. We've mentioned it previously about stadiums and the competitiveness of other stadiums coming online within the Canterbury district, within close proximity, that are bigger. Visitation numbers as a whole, large events have a big impact to that. We're really pleased with the numbers we got this year because we didn't have too many big events, and we still hit over the 500,000. So there is definitely a community love for the facility and use, but it is a guess.
And I guess further to that, just we benchmark, I guess, against year on year more so than that particular KPI. So making sure that we're maintaining or growing in our space.
And so when you're doing budgets, for example, you're not using the KPIs anymore. Okay, good.
The couch to wellness, Parkinson's play, CrossFit, etc. They seem to go really well for the gym. Are you in touch with some of our healthcare providers as far as new ideas and concepts go? And have you got anything in the pipeline that we should know about?
Nothing in particular to share at the moment, but Jenny is regularly in contact with the local. They've got a particular title, but healthcare practitioners, the different groups as well. She has been talking recently with Heart Foundation as another potential option. Obviously, the addition of a second O2Go class demonstrates the need for additional services in that space as well. So that level of interest and that level of engagement isn't going away anytime soon.
Yeah, awesome. Councillor Moffat.
Back to the lifeguarding. Obviously, you've got a great program there. Do you have enough lifeguards, or are you still on the lookout? And does the program, do you think, attract people to want to do the job?
Through the chair, we are currently recruiting for lifeguards. We've got one of our senior lifeguards is moving on, and so we're working through that space as well as a number of other shifts. Every year we go through an attrition process as a lot of our teenagers move off to tertiary study or out of town, and so there is constant change. The ILTP program through the recruitment recently has definitely stood out as something people are looking at. I'm having a number of conversations with potential employees, and that is something they're now mentioning to us. We've seen you're doing this. Tell me more about it. It looks interesting. I want to know more. So it is something that is definitely on the radar for potential employees.
Councillor Everest.
Thank you. Richard, just following on your comments from Gym and Fitness visitations and the Prime Fit program with the ENSCO team, do you intend to expand that further, and is there any positive media feedback for that?
So the Prime Fit program was a very successful pilot. So ENSCO funded 12 people through that program. Of that, 10 of them came out the other side of the program showing really good results and have continued their journey through some form of fitness. ENSCO are now looking at it from their side to see if it's something they wish to expand to more employees or more members of their community. We are using it as a concept with other businesses, but other businesses, of course, have to want to get on board to be able to do that. But a very successful program in terms of those 10 people and their journey into fitness. And I had a conversation with one in the gym yesterday who's very thankful for their employer supporting them through that.
And so the couple that didn't quite make it?
Without going into specifics, I think that was something to do with their connection around with their employer.
Okay, no, that's fine. Thank you.
Any chance of testimonials, Richard?
I do have 2 or 3 that I've got stored up for as we begin to share that program wider through the community, yes.
Yeah, nice. They speak volumes. Mila's.
Thank you. Just on the women's swim night, so there were 29 people that attended. Was that over the 2 sessions?
Correct. We are experiencing a little bit lower engagement with women's swim nights, so we're going to do a bit more promotion as we move into spring and see how that engagement looks through the rest of the year. But yeah, slightly lower than we had expected earlier on.
And I guess so. It's still once a month.
Correct.
And you just advertise it through your social media.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. And through some of the other channels, it goes out to through the migrant community and whatnot as well.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Gilkison.
Not a question, but a comment. But in my time at the EA gym, I did actually meet someone from the ENSCO program, and he was really stoked and also really proud to be invited to take part in it from his employer. So I think from an employer standpoint, it was also really positive to be able to offer it. So yeah, he was pretty keen to tell me all about it, which was good.
Awesome, thank you. Great feedback.
Just quickly, Richard, you mentioned pickleball in your report. Do you know off the top of your head how many pickleball players we've got locally, and whether or not we could do with another, like maybe an outdoor court option somewhere?
Through the chair, I don't know the exact number, no. But I do know that we are discussing how we could utilise our outdoor courts to support them. Their numbers seem to be growing, and there seems to be quite a level of interest. They trialled a small in-house competition through winter, and there's been a nice separation between the competitive side and the social side as well. So that's really starting to come through as a bit of a theme.
Nice. Milas.
Yeah, on that, so what's the difference between pickleball and is it paddle? What's it called?
Paddle. I'm still working through exactly what paddle is, but paddle to me is you're in a glass box, for want of a better description. It's kind of blends a bit more of squash and tennis into it, whereas pickleball is combining the size of a badminton court, a tennis height net with a table tennis bat and a plastic ball, playing in that kind of space. No walls, no anything like that. Paddle, I believe, brings in walls and a little more enclosure, kind of like squash.
Yeah, the balls are different and the paddles are different in either sport too, right? So the pickleball balls are plasticky and they've got holes in them, where the paddleball balls are more bouncier and the paddles, the paddle has sort of holes in it, and the pickleball is a solid.
Possibly one of the key differences is pickleball can almost be played anywhere. It requires open space. Paddle requires almost a borderline specialist facility to achieve it.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for your report, Richard. Ashburton Art Gallery Museum, Hubert Claessens. Morning, Hubert.
Morning, Councillor.
Anything to add to your report?
Nothing to add specifically, councillors, except for we're turning over exhibitions again. Time's moved on, so yeah, expecting to open some new ones next week.
Questions, councillors? Councillor Moffat.
Just wondering where we're at with the rebranding, when that's coming about, when it's going to be launched, that kind of thing.
Through the chair, the process that we're undertaking is to consolidate the merger agreement and to bring the two facilities together. So we've been working on that for a number of months, and it's that final step. So we're hoping that we can have it finished I'm going to say Q3. Q3 of the calendar year. So that's kind of our goal.
I just wanted to say how much I enjoyed the Society of Arts exhibition again this year. Fantastic. If you could pass that on to those involved, please. But also your school holiday programs, the miniature painting and the bug hotels and all the other stuff. It was so cool to see full rooms of kids getting stuck into those projects. It must warm your heart when you see it.
Thank you. It's most rewarding, and yeah, very busy too, which is great.
Yeah.
And the Art Society show was very successful. That was my first and possibly my last, but yeah, I had to experience it and it was worth it. Thank you.
Awesome. Any further questions, councillors? No, we're all good. Thank you. Thanks for the report. Community and open spaces. Welcome to Tony. And Janice Mackay. Morning, Janice.
Good morning, councillors.
Anything to add to your report?
Nothing further to add, but happy to take questions.
Awesome, thank you. Questions, councillors? Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. Morning, Janice. Just wondering if it's possible for people watching in from home, especially our council meetings, when something goes up on one of these screens, like staff are doing a presentation, councillors can see it and ask questions on. When you're sitting at home, you've got no idea of what's been shown. Very hard for them to follow in an engaged way. And same sort of comment, it'd be really cool if our agenda could be down in the bottom right-hand corner or something too, so that they can follow the agenda, make the whole meeting make far more sense as a viewer from home. And I think with that we might get more community engagement. So I'm just wondering if those things are possible.
Thank you. Through the chair, great question. Something that I can take back to the team and we can discuss. In terms of the presentations, we've just very recently made an adjustment so that you can see the PowerPoints more clearly, and because we did find that our screen on screen was obscuring part of the presentation, so we've just fixed that one. But with regards to the agenda, we'll put a little bit more thought into that one.
One from me. I see Dunedin Council have turned off their comments on their Facebook page. Just wondered if you'd talked to them, your team, whether you guys have discussed it as a comms team here, and whether or not you had a tipping point here locally where you would maybe follow suit.
Thanks. Through the chair, I'm not aware of Dunedin's most recent move there, so that's new. But we have over several times discussed the possibility of turning off comments and when that tipping point might be. However, whenever we discuss it, we feel that social media is still an important forum for people to say what they need to. And we're just a little bit aware of that balance between censorship and freedom of speech as well. So it's certainly something we discuss, but we just take it as we come at the moment.
Yeah, believe it or not, it made the national news on the radio that they're doing their comments off. And often it self-regulates, right? So I guess you're mindful of that.
Yeah, and we've seen other councils, such as Invercargill, had a period where they had all of their comments turned off, and then there was a change in approach, and they've brought a social media expert on board to spend time moderating and having, they've increased capacity in their team so that they can actually have two-way discussions online. So there's so many different ways you can approach your social media, but at this point ours is in line with our policy, so.
Thanks, Mia Liz.
Thank you. Just top of page 83, we've talked about the off-street parking options and doing some kind of promotion, I guess, or a list to show where people can park. Is that going to be a list on our website? Is that going to be sort of a big billboard that you might have dotted round, or how are you going to list those? And because I guess people can see it on the website, but if they're from out of town and want to know where a car park is, there might be an app or I don't know. How will you do it?
Thanks, through the chair. At this stage, we just realised that there was actually little to no information about car parks at all. Our first step was just to get something online. We've gone around and taken photos, and we're creating a map and some descriptions and that sort of thing. So that's step one, and then I guess if we do see a need to do more, then we certainly can look at that.
Thank you. And Oh no, I've lost what I was going to say.
Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. Tsunami signage. So is that like where they paint a blue line on the road, and if get past that point, in theory, you're safe from the tsunami, and it'll have some signage? Is that what this is about?
Thanks, Richie. That's exactly that. It used to be, I think it was yellow, orange and blue, and so the national direction was just change it all to blue. So we have to update all of our comms, signage. There's a booklet that goes to coastal communities, and we're working with the EMO to help get that information to those coastal communities.
Yeah. I mean, you won't know, but I just don't remember seeing any lines on the road with signage in our district, but there must be some somewhere for those coastal communities, knowing how far they have to go. But
there is signage at the moment. I can't tell you about the lines.
No.
Councillor Wilson.
With the simplifying local government decision we make today, which whatever that is what it is, will there be some comms put out after that decision to inform our community and to enforce to them why we made that decision? Because it's easy to say wait for the government to make its decision, but it's important for our community to understand what we've done, so that then the narrative is that this council wanted this to happen, and if the government changes its mind, the community understand the process, rather than we being silent and the government saying X and we get tarred with that brush. Is there a process for that? Or
well, through the Chair, and Janice can answer the specifics, but the short answer is yes, we're very mindful of the need for comms, both to the community but also internally to our staff. And so we have a plan in place to make those channels wide open as soon as the decision is made. We will share that now if you wish, but you can be assured from the point of view of this discussion that those plans are in place.
Councillor Moffat.
Yeah, I was always thinking along the lines of the amalgamation, comms and engagement, and just want to acknowledge first up that, you know, everyone's been under the gun with all of this, so I know that a lot of work has gone into comms strategy and engagement, so, and you guys juggling everything else as well, so, and everyone's always got an opinion on comms. Oh, we should have done this, should have done that, why don't we do it this way, you know. So I just want to acknowledge that. But also, once everything calms down after this process, I'm wondering, do you think there's any value in doing some sort of a review of how council handled the engagement process around the comms and the engagement with the community on this issue, particularly, as we're all aware of, reaching those younger people, which didn't really happen. So is there room for a review? Do we think that would be a good thing to do?
Thank you. Through the Chair, as part of our usual comms planning, we schedule debriefs on our comms plans. However, if you did want to do more of an in-depth review on this one and perhaps involving yourselves, we can look into something like that.
Yeah, it might be something we could all talk about at some point, even though hindsight is wonderful, isn't it? So, yeah.
Mealis.
And I was just going to say, to add to that, I appreciate all the work that you've done, sort of getting those surveys out and doing all that work, because it has been very fast paced, as Julie said, and we've probably learnt a lot along the way as well, and we've also had everything. We've had our other consultations that have gone out, so it's been a bit of a busy old time. But I think, yeah, I think hopefully we've done well, and I appreciate you taking the time, you know, doing the videos with the councillors and different sort of ways of trying to get, I suppose, the public included. But I guess when you add it all up and look that we had over, 1,100 responses to both the surveys, that's about the same number as the government got when they went out for consultation on simplifying local government. I think they got 1,100 responses, and they were quite proud of that. So I think we can be very proud of the responses that we got.
Thank you for your comments. I'll share that with the team as well.
Okay, that looks like it. Thanks, Janice. Thanks for your report. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it. It's Mark. Tony, you're looking after strategy and policy.
Yes, I am.
Anything further to the report?
Nothing further to add, but happy to take some questions.
Great. Questions, councillors? Looking clear. Millis.
How many elderly persons housing, it's probably in here, responses or submissions did we end up getting?
62.
Was it 62? Is it in there? Oh, yeah.
Councillor Wilson.
It's to do with the Commerce Commission one, which we obviously lodged in, due date was the 5th of June, which regarding to the water services plan. And I probably was a bit remiss, I didn't quite understand it, but I see in the paper that Dunedin City is declared that it's going to subsidise its water from general rates. And so when we submitted, did we submit on that, or what did we say with regards to that?
Well, we didn't comment on Dunedin's
No,
submission.
I'm just saying that the concept where you can use general rates to subsidise water infrastructure. If you're a standalone business unit, you can't. If you're a CCO, you can't, obviously, but if you're a standalone business, you potentially could.
I'd have to refresh myself on the particular detail of the submission, but this goes to the issue that we did talk about either at Council or a Three Waters Committee, where we advised you that the Commerce Commission's interpretation of ring fencing was a one-way ring fence, i.e. the water entity had to spend the money it received on doing water things, but it didn't mean that it couldn't accept additional revenue that wasn't water related, i.e. a council can put general rates money into its water services, and then the obligation is that the water services invest that in the water system. So that one-way ring fence was the Commerce Commission's interpretation of what the legislation meant, and we did advise that too. We also said, of course, that council has full discretion as to whether or not you do that. So it's not like it's compulsory, it's just the choice that you get to make. But Tony, I can't recall whether we made specific comment in that submission on that point or not.
Through the chair, I can't recall either. It was like a lifetime ago, but we can get that submission circulated to you if you like.
Probably from that discussion, I would think it should be governance who decides if that's a policy or not, rather than it being presented to us by we should decide that at a high level. If we wish to subsidise as governance, as council, that's great. We decide to, but if we decide not to, it's a clear yes or no rather than a blurred line. I would have thought.
Oh, absolutely. And I think when we talked about that one-way ring fence, we said that it's completely the discretion of council. The councillors, you're the ones who allocate resource, and if you allocate or don't allocate, that's what will happen. So if there is to be revenue going to water that's not generated by water users, that is absolutely your decision.
One from me, Tony, page 90, the new waste and litter legislation, enabling more effective controls for littering and mismanaged waste, including illegal dumping. It's bullet point 4 in that. What exactly does more effective control mean?
Through the chair, I haven't looked deeply into this one, but right now I know that we're quite constrained in terms of what we can do and the fines that we can give to someone who has littered that we've caught in the act. So I'm guessing that we might be getting a few more tools in our toolbox to better offer people an alternative way of behaving.
I'm just reinforcing my favourite councillor with Bev's Gates' position. Right, any further questions, councillors? Thank you. So are you looking after halls and reserves?
Yes, I am.
Reserve boards?
Yep. Happy to take questions.
Councillor Wilson.
I understand you met with Rakaia Hall, and it's more to do with we all know that the earthquake things, and the Rakaia community is very interested in what happens to their hall. So where did that discussion lead, or where's the next steps from that discussion?
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. So next steps from here is the preparation of a business case to come into the long-term plan for that work to be included in the LTP. The board aren't signalling that they see this as an immediate concern to be addressed in the first couple of years of the LTP, but certainly they do see it should be included over the 10-year plan at some point. So it's continuing, and also part of the conversation we had with the hall board was around ongoing maintenance funding, so they're going to have a look at that request for their budget also.
Councillor Moffat.
Onto the grants and funding, as we all know, more people are applying for funds through council, and council has to be a bit more ruthless in their decision things, as we've seen play out recently. And I just want to know, we did the events handbook that Sarah and her team did for how to organise an event. So as far as the grants and funding go, can council be more proactive in assisting people in their applications and providing the limitations, rather than everyone coming in expecting they're going to be given X amount of money? More guidance, or do you think we do enough in that front?
Through the chair, for the most part, our grants do have quite clear criteria and quite clear guidance in terms of what the maximum available funding is that is available, and also we do make it quite clear the pots are limited. They are constrained each year by whatever the budget is at that point in time. Probably the area where we get hit with a lot of funding applications is in the community agencies, and that's the more open-ended applications. We have left those intentionally without guidelines, without strict criteria, because the breadth of initiatives that are happening in our community are quite wide, and we could constrain the opportunities for some. In terms of having the capacity to help people with their applications, we do to a point, but we do only have the resource that we do. So we do expect that our applicants are able to succinctly provide the details that they need to provide, but we boil it right back down to the who, what, when, where, how, why. If you can answer those really clearly as an applicant and concisely, less is sometimes more, then you're a long way there to articulating what you need and why you need it. While I'm at it, actually, I'll just do a shameless plug for the Mid-Canterbury Funders Forum that is coming up, where all the funders throughout Mid-Canterbury are presenting at the Ashburton College. Just trying to think of the date. I think it's the 14th of August. We'll find the details and pop it on our website.
Nice. Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. I know it falls outside this reporting period, but you had the meeting the other night with various reserve boards, and I just want to congratulate you on that. Just while it's fresh to mind, it's quite good to talk about it, because otherwise it'll be 6 weeks after the event, if you like. So just wonder because there were a couple of little concerns raised that your team were going to address as well. So, but I thought it was a very well run event. So yeah.
Thank you very much. I'll pass that on to the team. For those who weren't able to be there, certainly we had quite a conversation around what it means when you've got groups hosting community events on reserve land, and what the sticking points can be there, and where it can get a bit tricky, and sort of the pitfalls to watch out for. The key one being if the event becomes a lot larger than what you anticipated, and you hadn't thought widely in terms of the host organising group of the number of toilets you might need. The existing toilets on site may not be able to handle the demand. So it was a really useful conversation, and thank you to the elected members able to attend.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah. That looks like that as far as questions go. So we'll welcoming communities. Mercedes. Stop it. Morning, Mercedes. Do you have anything further to add to your report?
Morning. Yes, I do. By the time I finished my activity briefing, I hadn't finalized the activities for Welcoming Week, but now they are finalized and I can talk to you about them. Welcoming Week goes from the 4th of September to the 13th, And we have planned 8 events. I'll just talk to you about a couple. So one of them is on the 5th of September, we have the diversity afternoon tea. And that's here at the library at 1:30. All the events are listed on the Welcoming Communities Facebook page and also a council's website. And another workshop that we're hosting in collaboration with the Ashburton Writers Group is a short story workshop. Everyone has a story to tell, and that's their opportunity to learn how to write their stories. This is on the 9th of September at 5:30 here at the library as well. And the last one, but not least, is a Welcoming Week Planting Day that we have on the 13th of September at the Harris Scientific Reserve. And this one is in collaboration with the biodiversity team from ADC and also with the Ashburton Community Conservation Trust.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Questions, councillors? Councillor Wilson.
I note you've been liaison with the RSE workers going to the apple orchard down there, because that's quite a significant, it's probably the biggest inflow of people, coming in and out of the district for many years. So where are we at with that, and what sort of program are you thinking of with respect to that?
They approached Welcoming Communities to do like a cultural appropriate welcome for the staff. And they will start coming in October, November, and December. It's quite a large number of people, so we're talking about maybe 300 people. It's mainly men coming from Tonga and Vanuatu, and I'm thinking about, because of the Pacific relation or familiarity, we're going to do a poffery to welcome them into the district, and perhaps some sports events. Thank you.
Melis.
Thank you. Thanks, Mercedes. Lots of good work going on just around the elections. So that's, how do you get out to people about enrolling to vote? And I guess there's a certain time frame where they can, is it another month? Is that right? Or have they got a bit longer than that to enrol?
So we all have until the 25th of October to enroll. Okay. And what I do is at the events, the organizer tells me who's new to the district and or who has moved. So I approach them and ask questions and see if they need to update their details. And if there's new people to the district, we also ask them. Yeah.
And I know that you were there, but maybe not involved in the multicultural talent show that was on last Friday night. But what a great event to showcase all the nationalities in our district. It was amazing.
Councillor Moffat.
Hi, Mercedes. With the upcoming social cohesion event, could you tell me, is there an outcome from that you would like some sort of action plan? Sitting around talking about social cohesion and bringing people together is great. Will there be some sort of action at the end of that?
This event is organised by Multicultural New Zealand and the Hakatere Multicultural Council, and I am attending as a guest, but I would expect some action points that we can implement in our Welcoming Communities plan. Yeah.
Any further questions? I think that's it. Thank you for your report. Open spaces, Ian Soper at the top table. Morning, Ian.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, Madam Mayor, councillors.
Anything to add to your report?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to point out that we've got 2 significant toilet blocks near water now complete. The Rakai Mouth facility is open to the public, just with some landscaping works around it. There's some photos in the report that depict where it is. And the other one is the one at Lake Heron. That will open September. It is complete now, but for the landscaping works around it. Currently it's surrounded in permafrost, so we're waiting for that to thaw out, and then there'll be some planting up the bank and what have you done. But the big thing there is the fact that we've been able to extract the old in-ground septic tanks and remove completely the long drop. So a lot of environmental wins there into a sensitive area of the district.
Brilliant. I'll start. The new fence being installed to delineate the new boundary between the public domain and the Bowls Club, was the old fence a bit buggered, or is it more about boundary and delineation?
Through the chair, it's about delineation and boundary. There was no fence there, so we've had to create a boundary which was just in an open area between the bowling greens.
And is there any update on the Bowls Club itself? Is everything ticking away all right there?
Yes, through the chair, from what we hear, the bowling club is happy with the outcome. They are progressing in good heart with one green and happy to do so. Nice.
I see nobody else lined up, so I'll ask my next one. The Lake Hood replacement barbecue top, is that the first replacement, and what are the lifespan of those barbecues and barbecue tops?
Yeah, through the chair, they are the sort of thing that does get a wee bit of abuse from time to time. That is the first one that we have replaced down there. Several $1,000s worth, but we would expect that they will last in the 8 to 10 plus years, depending on the amount of use or untoward use.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe longer.
Millis.
Thank you. In the Methven lighting project, it feels like we're just sort of hitting a bit of a brick wall with that one. Do you think it will go ahead, or should we be thinking of a different way of doing the lights in Methven? I know we've put, I think it's about $50,000 aside this financial year for that work. So I'd hope that it would get done, but are we
yes. Through the chair, look, staff are feeling the same sentiment that you're feeling, and I'm sure the community is as well. We've pushed EA as hard as we possibly can. We were under the impression it was going to be up and running by winter, which is now 3/4 over. I'm told from the staff at EA that yes, it's still on their to-do list, and yes, they will get to it, but they are unable to give me a definitive timeline, which I've requested on multiple occasions. So it is frustrating. And yes, to the second part of your question, there is 50,000 in the following subsequent year for some different elements of lighting. It's more around the CBD area, not on council lands, but connected to shop front, verandas and things like that.
Councillor Cameron.
With regards to, thank you, through the chair, with regards to the Ashburton domain, the little island, and I've asked this question before, in the middle of the sort of the lake at the top end here is looking a bit sad. Is that going to be replanted or edging done around that? Or?
Yes, through the chair, it has been replanted. We just need to let the plants get their feet out for a season or so, and then they will ultimately fill out and grow over that entire island. So it has been replanted, but it will take a wee bit of time.
And what about the edging? Because it's sort of half dipping into the main lake area.
Yes, so that edging will, the plants will overgrow it as the plan, and they will grow through that.
Okay.
We are not planning to re-edge that particular little island.
Okay. There are variable levels of water in those lakes. Why is that?
Through the chair, at the current point in time, we've dropped the water intake into the first 2 ponds, and you'll note that the second pond, the middle pond, is very low at the moment. We have another capital project which is about to commence, could have commenced earlier in the week, but the guys haven't got there yet. It's to extend the edging, so from at the Phillip Street end of the oval, we've had new rock edging installed there in the last 2 months. The next section of that is scheduled to be done any day. So that's why the water level's been dropped in that pond now.
So there's a plan, because I've asked a few people and nobody really sort of knew why that was, and I thought, oh, well, I'll ask that. With regards to the cemetery, the new cemetery, what's the ETA for that to be filled up? Is that 10 years or 15 years? Or?
The new Seafield lawn area? That purely depends on the rate of people.
There must have been some planning when we built it.
Through the chair, we're in the process of doing some estimating. A lot of it comes down to the personal choice of people choosing to either be interred in a casket or in an ash situation. So we're currently in the space where urban folk are lending towards an ash interment, and the rural folk are more traditionally casket based. So there is a bit of a movement going on. We're currently sitting at a bit over 50-50. The more ashes that become the choice, the longer the cemetery will last. So that is the factor that will have the bearing.
And do we have any interments in the Muslim area of the new lawn cemeteries?
Not as yet.
Can I ask how long that cemetery's been open? Be about, what, 5 years?
That would be correct, just over 5.
Thank you.
Councillor Wilson.
I'm following on from the biodiversity group meeting yesterday. One of the big issues was around it's on page 105, the removal of trees and the wilding pine and the whole issue around trees and stuff at Lake Camp. And in that environment, it's sort of a case of cut them all down and get on with it. But there is many other groups and interested parties. And how do you manage how will you cross that bridge, as it was, to come back to council with a workable plan that we don't upset a whole lot of residents or farmers, or and we don't upset the people that are doing the good work cutting them out? It's a minefield, but it needs to be sorted.
Through the chair, that's a good question, Councillor Wilson. There is a lot of competing interests in that area around the trees. However, the council has adopted a landscape plan back in 2016, and we are working down the path with that plan of removal of coniferous species in the high country areas. So we have an obligation on council owned and operated and administered lands, and that is where the Lake Camp trees come into question. We have already taken a lot out there in certain areas, but there is also still a lot there that are seeding, and it was very evident at the most recent wilding day, where to the north of the lakes there was only a handful of wilding pines removed. To the southeast of the lake, thousands. So there clearly is an issue with the seed source, which is trees on council land that are seeding and spreading onto private and Department of Conservation estate. In terms of how do we appease everyone, we won't. There will be people that are not happy to see some clear felling in that region, if that's what comes to be. We are planting where we can beech trees in raised wooden planted areas around the lake to give some shelter and shade, etc., for the population that do like to frequent the lake and like a bit of shade. However, we do look at the significant natural landscape values of that region, and primarily in the last few hundred years that has been treeless as opposed to forested.
Probably just maybe will you, because the biodiversity group had landowners that had had a lot of interest groups that have a huge amount of knowledge in that area. Will you use what's the word for it? Not circulate. bring it to the biodiversity group, so perhaps they'll give some feedback before it comes to council, just so that that biodiversity group's a good place to perhaps sound it out with. And if you have support from that group, you've actually covered off a lot of the parties that are interested in it. Is that a fair comment?
Through the Chair, I believe we've got that level of support already, and particularly with some of the letters that were tabled at the biodiversity meeting yesterday from Forest and Bird and the like. That's quite widely accepted that is the case, that landscape plan should prevail. And we do have pressure from ECAN currently with pine as well, and they are also pressurising DOC. And in talking with representatives after the meeting yesterday, there is plans to deal with some of the other pine that is on conservation estate lands with a joint venture between the Department of Conservation and the Regional Council.
Looks like that's it. Ian, thanks for your report. Thanks for all the photos in it too. We wish Don Heaney all the best with his retirement, and the new sexton all the best as well. But appreciate your time.
Thank you.
That'll do us for our activities briefing. Thanks for your time, everybody.